Welcome to the first of 3 screencasts. This first one introduces you to anatomy and physiology and some of the terminology. It would be helpful if you had looked at the crash course short video on the introduction to anatomy and physiology, which will give you an introduction to some of the language and terminology and principles in a nice, easy and comical way to prepare you for what will sometimes be somewhat complex language. So this first screencast is body systems, package to work through so you can stop at any time. You can go backwards and forwards and reinforce things. At the end of all of your study, there are workbooks to do and a couple of tasks to complete to generate the evidence to demonstrate your learning against the anatomy and physiology learning outcome. Okay, so these are the objectives for part 1. So you can see that anatomy and physiology are linked, that the systems of the body are interdependent. You will have a clearer idea of the different organs in each of the 12 body systems, thinking about building blocks of the body, and hopefully understand for yourself what the term homeostasis means, as well as common anatomical terms and being able to identify different landmarks. As you move through the other screencasts, you will be able to understand different joints, muscles, how joints move, know some of the names of muscles and groups of muscles so that you can carry out a simple activity analysis. Welcome now to part 1. The body is a machine. These are some examples of some of the complex movements and activities that the body can undertake. Activity 1. Draw an outline of the human body on a big sheet of paper or print out the blank template. It's on Pebble-Pad, but it's also on the next slide too. Take time to add all the organs and structures you can think of and draw them in the correct places. Restart this screencast when you've had a chance to do it, or move on to the next slide so that you can get the template ready to undertake this organ-based activity. Here is a link to the 12 body systems. And during the packages to follow, you'll be looking at the muscular, nervous and respiratory systems for the learning outcome. This slide speaks for itself. You started as one cell, which then developed and specialised so that the structure and function was appropriate for the type of cell. 2 short screencasts, each of 2 or 3 minutes, to show you mitosis, in other words, cell dividing. NB, this is not the production of sperms and eggs. That process is called meiosis. Once you've watched these and made any notes you want to do, stopped and paused and made any notes that help you to remember some of the points you're being able to develop now, move on. Here are different types of tissue. Again, you may wish to look up in the workbooks or in any useful, appropriate textbook that you are accessing to learn a little bit more about the 4 different types of tissue, what they're used for, and an introduction here to homeostasis, which is about balance. It is about making sure that the environment internally is constant, is balanced. When people are unwell, when they age, homeostasis may be affected adversely. Okay, perhaps you have a little walk. Maybe you're in your study or you're doing this quietly at work. So go for a walk. Look at which of the body systems you're using. Here are the 12. So which ones do you think you're using? Make a note. Body systems work together, carrying out the function. So you have the musculoskeletal, muscles and the skeletal bones, nervous system and the cardiorespiratory system, helping you to breathe and pumping blood around your body. They will be running alongside cellular respiration, possibly digestion if you've just had something to eat, your blood pressure, and if you're walking rapidly, sweating, maintaining your body temperature. Again, stop if you want to make some notes and think about this. Look up further, look in the workbooks so you can fully understand how these different systems in the activity of working together to cover the walking activity. This is complicated. So obviously, structure relates to function. Some structures are, of course, very small, maybe only seen under a microscope. Others are much larger and can be weighed. What our bodies do can be broken down. And look at it more simply, and as time goes by, you look at it in more complicated detail, applying it to some of the signs and symptoms of disorder and illness, and to some of the therapeutic approaches of the occupational therapist, so that you are understanding the ways in which normal structure and function and changed structure and function affect how people perform. Everything is linked to maintain homeostasis, balance. Okay, complex language, but let's see if we can make that more simple. Here is the quiz. Work through these different slides in your own time. The answers are given at the end. You may need to access the workbooks or an anatomy physiology textbook, and of course Auntie Google and YouTube, so that you can be clear about what different structures are part of which systems in order to answer correctly. I'm going to stop the voice recording now, and you'll take as long as you need to finish the programme.